I never really understood the hype around amp-in-a-box pedals. Amp-in-a-box pedals were just like the thing that you saw in every pedal section of a music store. A lot of the most iconic drive pedals, especially like those early 2000s, and I feel like, you know, the early days of guitar YouTube demos, you know, amp-in-a-box pedals were the thing. And it just never made sense to me running a preamp into another preamp and kind of expecting it to do the thing of a full amp. I also never really understood, like, I thought it was just, and I think a lot of them were.
What the fuck are you trying to say?
Calling themselves amp-in-a-box pedals, maybe were inspired by the sound of an amp, but ultimately were just a way of getting overdrive or distortion. But this pedal feels like an amp in a really different way. Now, like the tube driver is another one that feels like incredibly organic. Obviously you're going through tubes, but you've got this 3-prong cord, can sometimes be finicky. You've got a tube to worry about inside of a pedal. It's humongous.
Like big, like not just big, but big.
And not that this is a similar sound, because this is the like high gain predecessor to the Zen Drive that was just inspired by the sound of Robin Ford. And this honestly doesn't even like, this is a lot smoother sounding than what I even think of Robin Ford. Having that smooth, but like those crispy upper mids, this is a lot smoother to me. The way that like the transient really allows this thing to kind of collapse on itself. It just feels under the fingers like an amp really cranked up, where you're getting some power amp distortion. And I think that like I finally get what people are talking about. And recently I watched a video that John Cordy put out about the Revival Drive and just like the amp in a box thing, like an actual true like analog, maybe like an answer to a modeler or like one of those UA amp pedals if you don't want to go digital. That's not necessarily what I mean by this. I think this is in the more traditional, in those early 2000s when you're talking about amp in a box pedal, you throw this in front of your whatever it is. Most of the amps I feel like being played at that time were freaking 40-watt Fender Hot Rod Deluxes. You know, known for being straight up and down the middle, very mid-rangey sounding, kind of boxy. And I think that like that and a deluxe reverb and AC-15s, like those are the things that I really remember seeing a lot of. Being able to put something like this in the front end of it to make it feel and open up that preamp, hitting it a little harder, and a drive circuit that kind of like gives you something and isn't so flat feeling. It makes sense now. And I think it's like even better into a great amp. So maybe I need to go down that rabbit hole about, you know, 15 or 20 years too late and try to find some more amp-like drive pedals. Okay, before we get totally into the video, this boom mic that's just out of the shot wasn't recording, and so the audio is a little fucky, but it's just for the voice. The guitar is fine. It's just the speaking is not as crispy as I would normally like to have it. And I've been up all night, so I don't want to redo it. All right, let's get into the Hermida Love Pedal Moseratu. For several years, and it was on and off my board all the time. I ended up getting rid of it just because I could get some good money for it and was strapped for cash at the time. I've kind of wanted to dabble back in the ZenDrive world. Picked up this Moseratu from Sean at Love Pedal for a killer deal, and it just feels so amp-like. And I never really cared for, that was never an amp in a box thing, was never what I strived for. It actually wasn't even really interesting to me. But now feeling that, the way that it kind of implodes on itself. Again, let's listen to the clean tone. I've got my Tausch Lagrange here, and it's a very classic Les Paul style guitar. Amazing, beautiful instrument. Check out the full demo on this guitar. And I'm plugged straight into the Moseratu, into the Eddie Wong Polaris back there, 112 combo, and then after the speaker via the Fractal X-Load reactive load box, we're going to the Axe-Fx 3 for some post-speaker wet effects. Here is the clean tone on the neck pickup. Volume and tones are all the way up. Here's a bridge pickup. Little love from the amp, but there's clearly not a bunch of gain there. We're going to click this on. We've got the gain set fairly low there, and I'll kind of explain that when we listen to each knob. We've got our tone and voice here, and they're both cranked up quite a bit. Here's the pedal engaged. It's so creamy. Let's increase the gain and kind of listen to what that does with the neck pick. So you can hear the notes and kind of imploding on themselves. I feel like this is a great sound to kind of really show the filtering of the voice and the tone knobs. So we're going to stay in this super woman tone neck pickup sound, and we're going to listen to kind of the range of the voice and tone controls. So that's as bright as it can be. I like to wind those kind of quite a bit of ways up just to where it starts to really open up. And the same thing with the drive. You can hear it's really clean, and then you hear the gain kind of be introduced. Let's listen to just the bypass through tone. Pretty transparent right there. I'm gonna bring the gain up. Let's go to the bridge pickup actually. You can, I mean, listen how quick that comes in here. Now let's listen to the difference in kind of when that gain gets introduced and when it begins to really open up. You can hear it's not a crazy difference in gain there, but the feel. It's a little tighter if you back it off. You know, undeniably, everything boosted a little bit, maybe at 2 o'clock. Really dark, saturated Eric Johnson style of sound. The Moseratu really nails that. You know, initially it was created for that Robin Ford thing. I think it's way smoother than what I think of as the classic Robin sound. And more in that, you know, singing Eric Johnson. Under the fingers is second to none. And I really like the cleanup. It's not like fuzz facey where it cleans up and gets real sparkly, but it feels really good. And the taper in which, you know, backing off that input gain and really winding it up feels very natural. I have only positive things to say about the experience playing through the Moseratu. Also really dig that it's just like not even painted. There's no labels on the knobs. This is a great set it, forget it, go-to lead sound. I mean, you could just play a whole gig and really you'd have to be playing extremes of very sterile cleans or very high gain for this to not get you by, at least through any gig. And the way that it feels like really allows the amp's character to come through. But because you've got so much power with the filters, I think this would be a good candidate for covering up a bad amp, but being able to still get a decent sound. Now, obviously, with an incredible amp that you know and love, it's just that much better. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Does this remind you at all of the ZenDrive sound? I feel like amp in the box pedals were like such a big thing, but I feel like not so much anymore, especially when you've got these incredible amp sims on the market. So I'd be curious to know if anybody is still really digging these kind of amp in the box distortions. As always, if you've liked this video, please like and subscribe. Share this channel with others. All the ways to support me and the brands that I work with are down in the description below. And until next time, I've been Colin. As always, all right. Looks like you're not subscribed. Yeah, damn it.
Damn.
It finally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Oh, yeah. So I... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Jesus. Okay.